The internet is still recovering from Trump's appearance on the Joe Rogan podcast. Joe Rogan's Donald Trump episode racks up 26 million views in the first 24 hours, and that's on YouTube alone, folks, not to mention all the Spotify downloads, all the Twitter clips. Wow. This was a monster.
That's just YouTube? Wow.
Yeah, this was an absolute monster. Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump's podcast interview with Joe Rogan has been viewed over 26 million times on YouTube in its first 24 hours. It is the most viewed podcast appearance so far for either candidate in the 2024 presidential campaign, and among the highest viewed Joe Rogan Experience episodes in history. Trump sat with Rogan for a full 3-hour podcast episode discussing topics ranging from UFOs, the alleged impact of wind turbines on the mental health of whales, to Trump's regrets in office, and his false claim that the 2020 election was stolen through widespread voter fraud. I got to go back and look at the whales thing because I must have just been distracted for that part of it. The Joe Rogan Experience is the most watched podcast in the world. It has 14.5 million Spotify followers and 17.5 million YouTube subscribers. Although Spotify and Apple Podcasts do not release viewership data for individual episodes, the YouTube views suggest it is one of the biggest episodes in the show's history and reached more viewers than other podcasts so far in the campaign. Rogan did not endorse Trump during the interview. Rogan has previously endorsed independent candidate RFK Jr. That's not exactly true. We just spoke highly of him to Trump's chagrin, who has since suspended.
That's never gotten in their way before.
Yeah, no, that's not exactly true, but they are interpreting it that way. Who has since suspended his campaign and endorsed Trump. So yeah, no, Rogan did not formally endorse him, though Trump kind of nudged him to. This piece of video here.
He endorsed me. By the way, he gave me the...
He's talking about Elon Musk, by the way.
Elon Musk, yes. He endorsed me. By the way, he gave me the nicest endorsement, too. The tough. He said, the country's going to fail. You should do the same thing, Joe, because you cannot be voting for Kamala. Kamala, you're not a Kamala person. I know you. I've watched you. I know him better than he is. You know what? Without speaking to you, I think I know you maybe almost as well as your wife. I have watched you for so many years. You're not a Kamala person. You're a Khabib person, but you're not a Kamala person. No, nobody's going to know who Khabib is, but
they know who
he was not.
Yeah. So trying to get the endorsement, trying to playfully nudge him there into an endorsement. In the podcast, Trump praised Rogan, calling him a fascinating guy, while the host praised the candidate's sense of humor. One of the beautiful things about you is that you freeball, Rogan said, telling former president that he thought his impression mocking President Joe Biden was funny stuff. Rogan said that he would be interested in doing an interview with Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris, but her campaign has since confirmed that she will not join him on the show before Election Day. So, yeah, look, this was a good decision to go on the Joe Rogan show.
Of course it was.
He sat for 3 hours, and you know what? Look, I mean, it was everywhere online. I made fun of it a little bit at my speech at Jose's rally. Because, look, I mean, Rogan groveled. Rogan didn't give him any pushback on anything whatsoever. It was a little cringe in that respect, but that's not Trump's fault. I mean, Trump was great. Trump to have a 3-hour conversation, and they get into it was a very typical kind of Rogan episode where they start talking about what is the fucking thing he does? The UFC, the fighting. They start talking about their favorite fighters and boxing versus fighting. It put a very human face on Trump, who is portrayed in the media, especially this cycle, as, you know, Hitler now 3.0. I guess 2016 was 2.0. Yeah. And so, you know, it is disarming. He was very disarming because to have a guy just sit and talk loosely about sports and aliens and random shit, it is very much like you watch that and you really become less convinced that the guy is a larger than life evil because he has good interpersonal skills. You said your friend used to interact with him because he drove his father around when his father was sick. Keith Olbermann even said he was nice to him in the lobby of the, you know, Trump Tower buildings. Keith Olbermann used to live in his condos. Like, he's a schmoozer. Even that thing there. I know you even better than you know your wife. He's schmoozing him. He's buttering up. He's good at that. He has a knack for that. And that came through here. And again, down the stretch of the campaign, making a lot of the right moves.
And I would also say, watching him over this last month or two, and by comparison with Kamala, it is that elite expectation. You get the sense with Kamala and the surrogates around Kamala that they think she should win by right. Trump seems like he wants to earn your vote. It seems
Right.
like he's working for the job. It's very ironic, because what people always talk about with Trump is his enormous ego, and I'm not saying he doesn't have that. I think he has a little bit of a sense of humor about, yes, I'm a genius. I think there's a little self-parody in that. But the guy, he's already been the president. He's not taking it for granted. He's not acting like, you must vote for me, you little people. He's not the other side
Right.
is.
Right.
The other side acts like that. Look at their idea of a campaign pitch. You men, the brothers have, look at their idea of how to talk to voters.
Yep.
Trump's not doing that. He's working his ass off, and he's not a kid. He's working his ass off to be the president. It feels like he's doing what you should do, auditioning. He's auditioning to be president. He's doing the job interview part of it. Kamala's not doing the job interview. She only started giving interviews because her poll numbers started tanking. If she could have gotten away with not talking to anyone, that's what she would have done.
Exactly. Yep. I agree. And we'll have more Rogan Trump stuff tomorrow on the Jimmy Dore Show.
Please clap.